Level 1. The errand. You are 22 and you live in Culiacan. Not the Culiacan tourists imagine, because there are no tourists. The real one. Concrete walls painted yellow. Dogs that belong to nobody. The smell of diesel and corn tortillas at 6 in the morning when your uncle knocks on your door and tells you he has work. The work is simple. You drive. That's it. You drive a white Nissan Suru with a cracked dashboard and a rosary hanging from the mirror to a warehouse on the edge of the city. You wait outside. 2 men load cardboard boxes into the trunk. You drive the boxes to a bakery on Calle Insurgentes. You leave. You collect 800 pesos. You do not ask what is in the boxes. You already know what is in the boxes. But knowing and asking are 2 different things. And in Culiacan, only one of them gets you killed. Your uncle told you the first rule the same night he offered you the work. He said it the way men here say everything important, quietly without looking at you. Never count. Never ask. Never remember. You follow the rule. The second week, the pay becomes 1,500 pesos. The third week, 2,500. By month 2, you are making more than your father made in a year selling hardware on the corner of your street. Your father, who worked every day of his life and died with nothing. You think about that sometimes. You think about it, and you keep driving. Level 2. The account. 6 months later, a man named Guerrero calls you into a small office above a tire shop. Guerrero wears clean shirts and reads newspapers and speaks the way men speak when they went to university and chose not to use it honestly. He explains the problem. Cash moves, he says, but cash has weight. Cash has smell. Cash fills rooms and fills bags and fills suspicion. The government has systems. The banks have systems. Moving large amounts of physical money is the most dangerous thing in this business, he says. More dangerous than the product itself. He slides a folder across the table. Inside are documents, business registrations, a car wash on Avenida Universidad, a small hotel near the bus terminal, a taqueria with 3 locations. Your job is no longer driving. Your job is making the businesses real. You deposit cash daily, never more than threshold amounts. You spread it across accounts in different banks on different days with different tellers. You dress well. You smile. You bring in fake invoices for supplies that were never ordered and services that were never rendered. You learn which numbers the tax authority looks for, and you make your numbers conform to different shapes. You are not good at this in the beginning. Guerrero has a man named Felix who teaches you. Felix is 40 years old and looks 60. He smells like cigarettes and keeps a calculator in his shirt pocket the way other men keep phones. He taught himself accounting from textbooks he bought at a market stall. He is the most precise person you have ever met. He tells you that the IRS does not look for criminals. It looks for anomalies. Be boring, he says. Be average. Be the kind of business that grows just enough to be believable and just slow enough to avoid questions. Be boring. You hear Guerrero's voice in that. You wonder if they are the same man in different bodies. By the end of the year, the car wash is processing 400,000 pesos a month in clean revenue. The taqueria is turning a legitimate profit on top of the funds it absorbs. The hotel is a perfect instrument, cash-heavy by nature, difficult to audit, and staffed by people who know exactly which questions not to answer. You are 23 years old and you understand money better than most men with business degrees. Level 3. The structure. The promotion comes without ceremony. Guerrero stops calling you directly. A lawyer starts calling instead. You never meet the lawyer in person. Documents arrive. Documents leave. Instructions come through a third party who meets you in parking lots and restaurants, and once in a dentist's waiting room, while a television in the corner played a telenovela nobody was watching. You are now managing the financial architecture for 4 plaza operators. You do not know their names. You do not want to know their names. You know their cash. Every Tuesday, sealed bags arrive at a storage unit outside the city. You convert the cash through a network of 17 businesses, car dealerships, agricultural supply companies, a small construction firm that renovates houses with contractors paid off the books and sells them at market rate, a pawn shop, a pharmacy, a gym with very few actual members and very clean books. The money enters the system dirty. It exits clean, taxed, documented, legitimate. The architecture is yours. You designed it. You maintain it. You are the only person who understands the entire structure from the cash pickup to the final deposit. That knowledge is your protection. It is also your trap. Level 4, the invisible wall. You are 27 and you do not sleep well. Not because of fear, because your mind will not stop running calculations. You lie in the dark and you see ledgers. You see transaction flows. You see the one account at the Bancomer branch in Mazatlan where the numbers are slightly inconsistent this quarter, and you cannot stop thinking about what a pattern recognition algorithm would do with that inconsistency. You fix it in the morning. You always fix it. But at night, your mind keeps building the problem before your hands can solve it. You have a girlfriend named Daniela. She is a nurse. She thinks you manage imports. You let her think that. Not to deceive her, you tell yourself, but to protect her. That is partially true. The rest of it is simpler. A partner who knows too much becomes a liability. A partner who leaves knowing too much becomes a catastrophe. You have learned to think in structures. Everything in your life has become a structure. The SAT in Mexico City opens an inquiry into one of your construction companies. Not a formal investigation, a letter, a question about a specific transaction in a specific quarter. Your lawyer handles it. The response is thorough and completely clean because the paper trail was built to survive exactly this kind of scrutiny. The inquiry closes in 8 weeks. You lose 4 kilograms during those 8 weeks and do not notice until Daniela mentions it at dinner. You order more food, you eat it, you go home, you run the numbers. Level 5, the weather. You are 31. The man above Guerrero, a man whose name you have never spoken aloud, sends word through 3 intermediaries that the organization is restructuring. 2 plaza operators have been arrested. One is cooperating with the Fiscalia. Federal investigators have begun pulling real estate records across 3 states. Your architecture appears in the data. It appears clean because it is clean, but it appears twice in flagged transaction networks. Somewhere in an office building in Mexico City, an analyst with time and software is building a diagram. You don't know this yet. What you know is that the word restructuring in this business means something specific. It means run or disappear or become the thing that gets restructured. You begin the exit protocol you designed 2 years ago and hoped you would never use. Accounts migrate. Businesses are sold at legitimate market prices to buyers who exist on paper and nowhere else. The construction firm completes its final project and closes. The pharmacy is transferred to a cousin of Felix, who asked no questions because Felix asked him not to. The gym simply stops renewing its lease. Over 4 months, the architecture dismantles itself from the outside in. What remains is a small real estate portfolio. Legitimate, documented, survivable. You are worth, on paper and in practice, enough to stop. Level 6, the reckoning. You are 33 when the arrest comes. Not yours. Not yet. Felix. Picked up at his home on a Tuesday morning. His daughter was eating breakfast. He did not resist. He was wearing slippers. You find out through the lawyer. The lawyer tells you Felix is talking. Not about everything. Not about you specifically. But about structures, about methodologies, about how the architecture was designed. Enough for the right analyst to draw a line from a pattern to a person. The lawyer tells you your options. You already know your options. You design contingencies for this before you ever reach level 3. The difference between a plan and a fantasy is whether you built it when you were calm before you needed it. You leave on a Thursday, not dramatically. A bag, a flight, a border that asks no questions if your papers are correct, and your papers are correct. You sit in a hotel room in a city that is not Mexico, and you think about Felix and his slippers. You think about Daniela, who you called before the flight and told only that you had to go and that it was not her fault. She said nothing for a long time. Then she said she already knew. That she had known for a while. That she had been waiting for the call where you told her. She was not wrong. She was never wrong. Level 7. The price. You are 35. The indictment arrives through your lawyer in a sealed document. Conspiracy to commit money laundering, organized crime statutes, your name attached to 4 plaza operators, 2 of whom have fully cooperated. The financial forensics are thorough. The architecture you built to be invisible has left exactly the kind of elegant, consistent, invisible pattern that a good analyst eventually recognizes as architecture. You designed a system too perfect to be random. That is what found you. Your lawyer negotiates for 14 months. You do not cooperate against the organization. Not out of loyalty, out of mathematics. The government can imprison you. The organization can do other things. You are sentenced to 11 years. The real estate portfolio is largely forfeit. What your lawyer protects is modest. Enough to exist on. Not enough to rebuild anything like what you had. Prison at 35 is a different calculation than freedom at 22. You think about the first rule your uncle gave you. Never count. Never ask. Never remember. You spent 12 years counting everything, asking nothing, remembering it all. The rule was never about protection. It was about keeping you small enough to be useful and ignorant enough to be replaceable. You understood money better than almost anyone in the organization. You never understood that.